Well, gang, Carolina Jackpot time coming at you. It is November 25th, 2022. It also means that it is Friday morning. It's about 10 a.m. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving yesterday. You deserved it, by God. If you celebrated Thanksgiving, which I assume most of you did, I hope you had a good one. I did. Very relaxing. Good times. Not real nice weather today. It was nice weather yesterday for Thanksgiving Day. I want to get into the picks against the spread for week number 13 of the college football season. This is rivalry week, hate week, whatever you want to call it. Some of your teams played your big rival last week. This is just a good week of football. It's the final week of the regular season. So we're going to break these games down. And I know a lot of people used to look really forward to these segments. And honestly, when I first started doing a lot of college football videos on YouTube, these were the ones that pushed the envelope. They were the ones that kind of built the algorithm for me to be a college football content creator here on YouTube. The people just really like the picks against the spread videos. I just did it one night. I was sitting around. It was in 2017. I won't forget. I was at my mom's house on a Friday and Saturday night. I babysat or dog sat her dog while she went out of town. I was sitting around, I was bored, I was playing with my phone, I was watching a football game on TV that was on a Friday night. I think it was San Jose State and Tulsa, maybe. And I just ripped a piece out of a legal pad. I said, I wonder what the spread on this game is. And I looked in and I said, what if I took all the games and wrote them down and did that? So I did. And it was on this yellow piece of legal paper. And I had the next day I woke up, I had 1,500 views on that video. I'm like, what in the world? What have I stumbled upon here? So I just started doing it all the time. Well, in the past year, I have not been able to do them as much. I've been working out of town a lot, and time just didn't let me do it. But I'm going to do those now and then going forward. So hopefully you guys will hang around to see these, because I really enjoy doing this stuff. Whether I get the picks right or wrong or whatever, maybe I can give you a little insight for some reason that you weren't able to get from somewhere else. Who knows? Shout out to my mom as well. We went over there yesterday at Thanksgiving, and she actually has been watching the Carolina Jackpot videos. Been trying to keep doing this channel a secret from her for many years, just because of the nature of it. Some of the language that's used over here is not great, and she said that she enjoyed the videos, that they were entertaining, but I used a little bit too much foul language, and she would get me more viewers if I toned down the foul language a little bit. So I'm going to make a concerted effort, because my mother asked me to not use so much foul language over here on the channel. I have had people in the comment section say, I like the show, but I won't let my kids watch it. All right, so we're going to try to make it a little more PG friendly here. Tomorrow's South Carolina Clemson live stream. I can't promise you that that's going to be totally 100% PG, but we'll try to keep it as much as we can. Also, another live stream today at 3:30 p.m. Make sure you tune into it right here on the Carolina Jackpot channel. Arkansas on the road at Mizzou. We will be pulling for Mizzou in that game to take down the filthy swine from over in Fayetteville, Arkansas. But let's get into these games now. If you fast forward through the drivel, here we go. Tulane going on the road to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is currently a 1-point favorite. Home field advantage. That Nippert Stadium home field advantage has got to mean something at some point for Cincinnati. It's got to at some point. They're still ranked number 24 in the country. Hadn't played awful well this year. Lost a lot of players to the NFL from last year. Actually, that was a storybook team. Made the playoff run. Kind of followed it up this year with a disappointing performance, but it almost had to be, given everything that they lost. Let's go on ahead and take Cincinnati, though, to win that one. Tulane kind of dropped a disappointing game against UCF. Bounced back last week, just totally obliterated. Who was it? Was it SMU that they obliterated last week? I believe it was. Yeah, SMU. Everybody scores a lot of points on SMU, so, I don't know what we can really deduce from that. Just if you look at it over on ESPN, it's like a 60-40 in favor of Cincinnati as far as power rating there. So I'm going to go ahead and roll with the Bearcats in that one to cover. Got Baylor going on the road to Texas. So Baylor basically had their hopes and dreams crushed last week. Well, they didn't have any hopes and dreams. I mean, they're going to make a bowl game, and it's going to be just a middling bowl. But they could have knocked TCU probably out of the playoff contention last week with a win, and they were winning that game pretty much the entire time. But TCU finds lightning in a bottle once again. Just the Cinderella storybook season. At what point do we keep on saying, well, TCU's bound to screw up? I mean, because they did, look here, they did this, had to come back this against Kansas State, they had to come back do this against this team. At what point are we finally going to say maybe this is just their year? Now, once they get to the playoffs and start getting matched up against somebody like that, I mean, I expect them to absolutely get obliterated. But you got to give them credit for being just a very tough, gritty team that just refuses to lose. Baylor's 0-4 against ranked opponents. Here they go on the road, take on a ranked opponent in Texas, and they are catching 9 on the road. That, to me, though, I don't know. That just seems to be like a lot of points. Texas has been up and down all year. They may be the best 7-4 team in college football. Who knows? But I think that Baylor is still going to get off the mat here. You know, if they do win this game, they'll be in a better bowl position than they would be if they were 6-6. So I'm going to roll out there with the Baylor Bears. I think this is going to be a sleepy environment too. It's 11 a.m. kick. You know, Texas has already got a bowl wrapped up. Go on ahead and give me Baylor to cover in that one. Arizona goes on the road to Arizona State. We're just kind of skipping around here. This one's at 3 p.m. This is actually a noon kickoff in Tucson. Arizona is laying 4 against the Arizona State Sun Devils, coming at 3-8. Arizona's 4-7. Arizona probably, just in terms of wins and losses, I mean, they've improved a lot over last year. I mean, this is a 1-win team last year. But I think that they were kind of fool's gold in that last year they were cashing checks every week for people who were betting on them. They were covering spreads it's just like automatic. Take Arizona to cover the spread because they're going to fight hard and win. Or fight hard and cover the spread. They're not going to win, but they're going to fight hard. This year, I think that they were kind of getting to where the market caught up with them a little bit. A 4-point favorite, though, in a rivalry game against an Arizona State. This is a team that this is a coachless team, right? They've lost 5 in a row to Arizona State. You know, this would be the best chance they have to snap that streak. Let's go on ahead and, I'm going to go on ahead and roll with Arizona State here. I just think for some reason this is like a 3-point game. 4 points, I think, it's a short line, but I think it's a little bit too much. Gives a little bit of a cushion there where they can sneak in a field goal. I'm going to take Arizona State to cover that spread. We have North Carolina State going on the road to UNC. North Carolina State still ranked. They were still ranked last week before that embarrassing loss on the road to Louisville. They should still be ranked, right? I mean, that's ACC bias. They're not still ranked anymore. If you can see there, I have a bird in the saddle for. I don't really like NC State at all. Not one of my favorite teams, my friend. Not one of my favorite teams. Taking on somebody else is not one of my favorite teams as well. The UNC Tar Heels. I wish both of them could lose. At 3:30 today over on ABC, UNC is a 6.5-point favorite against North Carolina State. Of course, UNC's already wrapped up the ACC championship game appearance against Clemson last week. I don't know. I lost Georgia Tech at home. Does it not seem like Clemson just always gets just the? But why? I mean, what? And I know the ACC Coastal's going away after this year, and so it's going to be no more. Does it not seem like Clemson always just has the easiest freaking draw in the world for their ACC championship game opponent? When have they played anybody that was tough? When have they played anybody that was worth a crap from that side of the? I don't know that they have. I don't know that they have. But anyway. I'm going to take North Carolina to cover the spread here. This is revenge, right? This is revenge. I believe NC State won this game last year, and I have put some research into these picks, some more than others, and so I can't sit here and definitively tell you what the final was on that one, but yeah. NC State won last year 34-30, so you got revenge going on. You got Drake May, I think, can go out there and have a decent game today at home against NC State. They really need to make a reprieve for themselves against their rivals, and I think they do. Going ahead and give me the Tard Holes to cover against North Carolina State. Arkansas and Mizzou, this is one I'm really looking forward to. 3:30 over on CBS. Make sure you come over here and watch it. We're going to live stream this game. Mizzou is fighting for bowl eligibility. They're sitting here at 5-6 on the year. Arkansas is 6-5, so they will be in a bowl game. With Mizzou, I think this is probably, if you look at it from a perspective of the last week in August before the season started, I'm thinking this is probably about where they thought they would be. They had a team that had lost Tyler Beatty, who was their everything running back. They'd also lost some other pieces over there on the offensive side of the football. But we're going to bring back a solid defense. I don't think that they are absolutely in love with Eli Drinkowitz there as a coach. I think they really are in love with him as a recruiter. But I don't know that the Mizzou fans really like I know for a fact, they don't like his game time decisions and maybe his little shtick, where he kind of throws jabs at other teams in his press conferences and tries to be witty, kind of like the nerd in school who's trying to fit in and be cool. He gets in there the best way that he can. Which all that's well and good. All those little jabs are well and good if you are like Steve Spurrier back in the day at Florida, right? And you're throwing jabs like Free Shoes University. It's cool, right? Everybody likes it. But if you're just a dork and you're sitting here losing more than 50% of your games, you just look like a huge douche by doing it. At any rate, I still like Mizzou, and I kind of think they're like the Gamecocks. They really don't get appreciated in the SEC or respected the way they should. Arkansas, a team when they beat South Carolina, I thought this was a team that could contend for the SEC West. Injuries kind of derailed them a little bit along the way. KJ Jefferson missed a couple of games, had a real bad concussion there around the middle of the season. They're heating up at the right time, though. They dropped the game to Liberty, which was just inexplicable. I mean, just one of those things that happens. But if you look at the win over LSU a couple of weeks ago, not the win. It's a close loss to LSU, I'm sorry. That was kind of a little bit of a moral victory game, and then they rode that into last week's game against Ole Miss. They won that game by a final score of 42-27, which is a lot closer than what the game actually was. They were up on Ole Miss 42-6 at one point in that game. Ole Miss, just a team that's really struggled offensively, and we saw that last night for sure. KJ Jefferson's healthy. He's ripe, ready to go. Last year, Arkansas won this game pretty easily. So, I mean, you look at quarterbacks, KJ Jefferson versus Brady Cook. I mean, KJ Jefferson is infinitely better than Brady Cook. Arkansas has covered 4 of the last 5 games here. Mizzou is just another offensively challenged team. They're not going to put up a lot of points against Arkansas. So I hate it, but going ahead and give me the Hogs to cover that 3.5 on the road. I think they win this game anywhere from 7 to 10 points, maybe as much as 14 points. I hope not. Iowa versus Nebraska. Iowa's sitting here at 7-4. Will be, as long as they win this game, they're going to be the Big Ten West champions. Believe it or not, I mean, a lot of people made fun of Iowa all year long and no offense. Look at this. They played South Dakota. You know, they kicked 2 field goals and got 2 safeties. And, you know, but except for that game, all of their wins have been by 14 points or more. So, yeah, they're offensively challenged, but they're a really good team defensively. You look at Nebraska, this is a program that's just, they're in the doldrums. And they're playing for a new coach. Whoever that comes in there is going to have a very tall task ahead of them. I actually watched them play in person in October at Rutgers, and I can tell you that they are not a good team. They're just offensively, they are awful. I lean Iowa in this game. I lean Iowa here. Winners of their last 4 in a row. Pretty impressive in doing so. So going ahead and give me the Hawkeyes to cover this one against Nebraska. You got Cal taking on UCLA out in Berkeley today. That's a 4:30 game on Fox. UCLA is an 11-point favorite on the road. This is going to be a sleepy environment. You look at Cal last week, they're pumped. They won the big game, the big game against Stanford. Nobody ran over the tuba player this time, but they won 27-20. I mean, David Shaw's program at Stanford has just circled the drain. UCLA's got to be down after that loss to Southern Cal. So, I mean, they really don't have a whole lot to play for in this thing. Cal rallied last week from 14 points down, actually, against that terrible Stanford team, and won that game. So we see they've got a little bit of grittiness, a little bit of toughness. UCLA, the only thing that we can be playing for here would be bowl positioning. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, key turnover there against USC last week. They got to be a little bit down. California team, Justin Wilcox, they actually covered some spreads this year. They're 4-7, but they've not gotten blown out like one would think. I'm going to go on ahead and take them to cover this. I think that 11-point number is just a little bit too high. Florida going on the road, taking on Florida State tonight. 7:30 over on ABC. That's one I'm looking forward to watching there. FSU's won 4 in a row, albeit they've won 4 in a row over a bunch of tomato cans. After they dropped 3 in a row, they dropped to Wake Forest, NC State, and Clemson, all 3 ranked teams. Last week, Florida, they did lose 31-24 on the road at Vandy. But you got to look inside the box score a little bit here. They outgained Vanderbilt significantly in that game. 400 yards passing, virtually no run game, though, which is kind of concerning. Special teams and turnovers is what killed Florida in that game against Vanderbilt. Florida State actually has the number 4 pass defense in the country, which is that's just a mind-blowing stat to me. The last 4, Florida's won the last 3 in this matchup. They didn't play in the COVID year. Last year it was a very close matchup. This is Sunbelt Billy's first game against Florida State. And this is very much one of those games where sometimes you'll see when a team has kind of had a streak against them, and it's kind of embarrassing because Florida State was much thought of to be a better program in the early part of the 2010s here, probably up to about 2016 or 17. They were thought to be the better program. You'll see the little brother, when they have a chance to get that big brother, they'll really lay it on them a little bit. Kind of like in 2014 when South Carolina had beaten Clemson 5 games in a row. Well, that Clemson got that little brother syndrome during that time. And so in 2014, when South Carolina had a horrible defense, that they did what they had to do to really pile it on and really make a statement in that game that they were really actually able to win. So I kind of think you see maybe the same thing here. And I'm going to take Florida State to cover. Normally, I would not take a team like that to cover because, like, all the public money literally is coming in on Florida State. And I'm not saying that Florida can't cover. But they've got to get that offense going. They got to get cranking against them. But just it being on the road, I just don't think it's an environment where they're going to be able to do that. They're actually catching 10 on the road, by the way. I think Florida State covers that. They probably win by about 14 points, unfortunately. Well, I say unfortunately. This is another scenario where I hate both teams. I really do. I hate both teams. I don't like Florida. Their fan base is just horrible. I do have a few Florida commenters here on the videos, and they're pretty cool. I'll give them that. But they have not been as bad the past few years as what they normally have been in the past. Which South Carolina, they have a rivalry with them. South Carolina's performance against them this past year, I'll still say it, even though, the great performance we had last week against Tennessee, absolutely no excuse. Absolutely no excuse for that. They're not a good team. They're just not. They're not a good team. Florida State, the other team that I don't like, by virtue of the fact that you fell apart over in the ACC. You had a stranglehold on it for so many years. You just decided to fall apart and allow Clemson to take over that ACC Coastal and really that conference. So I don't like you for that. The Gamecocks kind of had a rivalry with you, especially back when South Carolina was an independent. And Florida State pretty much got the better of us at most times. They had a really good team back then. That's been a long time ago. So I don't like them because of that. I don't like them because of that 2010 Chick-fil-A Bowl or whatever it was. Whatever that guy was, Greg Reed, that went to jail. A nasty hit on Marcus Lattimore. The Florida State fans were, dude, it was a clean hit. You just don't know football. No, it was a dirty hit. Jailbird got what he deserved, though. He didn't go to jail for hitting Marcus Lattimore. It was for something else. But at any rate, I don't like Florida State. Getting away from that, we got Syracuse at Boston College. We're getting into some games for tomorrow, actually, here. And the order we're kind of skipping around here. Nobody really cares about this. Syracuse at BC. The Fruit, does anybody remember when they were 6-0? Yeah, right. They're 6-5 now. They've dropped their last 5 games in a row. Boston College has had some terrible losses this year. But, I mean, if you look at them just recently, they hung around against Duke a little bit in their game a few weeks ago. That was the game that when the week South Carolina played at Vanderbilt. They've also knocked off NC State. I think NC State was actually ranked at that time. So Boston College actually has a ranked win under their belts, what was ranked at the time. Syracuse is not playing great football. And it's a nighttime game in Boston. Or Chestnut Hill, whatever it's called. It's going to be cold. It's going to be I don't think it's going to be a real energized environment up there. Both teams are terrible. I think Boston College covers in this one. I do. Tennessee going on the road to Vanderbilt. Checker Vandy. Tennessee's going to checker Vandy Stadium. Look at Vandy. If they can win this game, somehow or another, they're bowl eligible. Tennessee comes in at 9-2. I don't think that Vanderbilt's going to win this game. I think the crowd's going to play a difference here, and it's going to be an all-Tennessee crowd. Tennessee is a wounded animal, very much at this point. So they've really got to go out and have a good performance. They just have to. Joe Milton was 6-0, touchdown versus interceptions this year. And he's going to be the guy. I mean, Joe Milton, can you step up and be the guy? Can you step up and be the guy? Can you step up and be as good or better than Hendon Hooker? Guy's got talent. He looked terrible last year, but somewhere or another he's found some better mechanics. I don't know. I don't think that he's probably the quarterback that Hendon Hooker is, but we'll see. against Vanderbilt. I don't think you're going to face a real stiff test. Like I said, Florida and Anthony Richardson threw for 400 yards on Vanderbilt last week. Just couldn't really get in the end zone a lot. I think Tennessee gets in the end zone here a lot, and I think they boat race Vanderbilt. They're actually a 14-point favorite, and I look for them to cover that number. I don't see any reason why Tennessee should not blow Vanderbilt slap out of the water in this one. So going ahead and giveth Carolina jackpot Tennessee to cover in this game. South Carolina and Clemson, that one will be covered at a later point in time on a video, maybe later this evening, maybe tomorrow. And I'll give you my official pick and prediction on that one. I'll get it out probably later today. You got Georgia Tech going on, or UGA at home against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's a 35.5-point underdog to UGA. Look, I just think that is too many points. If you look at Georgia, they've really shown up against the big teams, the big games on their schedule. The ones that really mattered. They've really shown up this year. When it's one that doesn't matter a lot, they have looked just average as shit. And this is a source of pride right here for Georgia Tech. Georgia's covered the last 4 games by an average. They've won the last 4, at least, in the series. The last time they lost was 2016, about an average of 36 points a game, which is right at where the line sits. Georgia Tech, another team that's fighting for a new coach. Are they going to get somebody? Is there an off chance that they hire the interim coach, Brent Key? He's done a good job. They're coming off of just a gritty 21-17 win on the road at North Carolina, where they were down 17-0 in the second half of that ball game. I think Georgia Tech covers this game. I think the Nerds cover, and actually, and I'm being silly here, but if they win, they're bowl eligible. Could you imagine that? They're bowl eligible. Now, you can't bet this game on the money line, by the way, so don't even go try to do it. Georgia's going to win pretty big. I can see Georgia winning it by, I don't know. Just the way they played against some of the teams that aren't real good on our schedule, I think UGA wins. I don't think they win by any more than 24. That's where I'm standing on that one. UGA wins, but does not cover against the Nerds. Rutgers going on the road, taking on Maryland. The Terps are laying 14 at home. This is too many points. Rutgers is coming off, or Rutgers has an anemic offense. That's another team I saw playing person. That's all playing Maryland or Nebraska. They're having an anemic offense, but they are number 18 in the country in pass defense. Maryland likes to throw the ball a little bit with Tua Tagovailoa or whatever his name is, Junior. Maryland is a team. You look at Maryland's kind of a funny team. They're 6-5. They've played Michigan and Ohio State tougher than anyone in that Big Ten East has. That includes Penn State by far. But then if you look at them on the flip side, they've played some of the wet fart teams. They've played like Indiana and Northwestern. They played like a wet fart, and they don't cover against those teams. So they get up. They're another team that gets up to play really good competition. Well, I scratched that. They got dicked by Penn State a couple weeks ago. It was 30-0 on that one. I really didn't see that one coming. But they failed to cover against teams with a losing record that just really aren't any good. Don't think they have anything to play for much. Going ahead and give me the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers to ring the bells tonight and get that one. And it wouldn't shock me. That would not shock me to see them get the upset win there. That's a 12 noon game tomorrow. I'd like to watch that one, but I'm not going to be able to because that's time the Gamecocks are playing the Taters, and we've only, I got 2 TVs here. And with my YouTube TV subscription, I try to put it on my iPad sometimes. And sometimes it's good to me and lets me watch 3, but sometimes it'll kick me off and tell me you've got too many devices going on. So, Michigan going on the road taking on Ohio State. This is a big one. Probably the biggest Michigan-Ohio State game, and God knows when. Michigan, can this young kid at running back step up? Because I don't know. Blake Corum, they say he's going to play. They say he's not. If he can if he can go, I think he's going to go in this game. I don't know how effective he's going to be, though. Michigan's won 3 of the last 4 versus Ohio State, 2-2 against the spread. This is a tough one. They're actually catching 8 right now on the road at Michigan. Both teams sitting here undefeated. Ohio State has played a little bit tougher, I guess, of a non-con schedule. You got the game against Notre Dame in there, which they won. We can't take that one away from them. I don't know, guys. I don't know. This is going to be a slobber knocker. I think, though, I'm going with the underdog. I think Michigan will cover that spread. I really think they want to make it back to the playoffs again. And last year I think they had some unfinished business that they probably didn't have a real good showing last year in the playoffs. This year, I think they probably think they stand a little bit better of a chance. Last year, Georgia was just an absolute buzzsaw. And now Georgia fan will sit here and say, well, I mean, this team this year, I mean, it's no different than last year. It is. That Georgia team was a buzzsaw. They're running through everybody. This year, the water is so much muddier. And I think that Michigan could actually, if they get to the playoffs, they actually play well, it could actually end up being national champions. So going ahead, and I'm going to take the Wolverines to cover here. I might be stupid. I did that. Ohio State will probably win by 4 touchdowns, but I just think that Michigan is the way to go here in this one. That the line is just too high. That's just too many points in a game with so much on the line. West Virginia going on the road to Oak State, 4-7 West Virginia, 7-4 Oak State. Is Neil Brown, is he coaching for his job? I don't know. I have a feeling that most of the time when these guys are fired after the last game of the season, I have a feeling that this stuff is probably already decided. They actually stepped up and beat Oklahoma at home a few weeks ago. West Virginia did. But then, if you want to look at them too, they're just a Jekyll and Hyde team too. Lost to Kansas State last week at home. They've just been up and down. Oklahoma State, though, is just a team I can't trust. I can't trust them. I don't know. When they lost 48-0 to K-State, that just took something out of them. And I don't know. It's changed them totally. So I'm going to lean West Virginia in this game. Give me the couch burners. Got Army on the road at UMass. Army is a 20-point favorite on the road in Amherst, Massachusetts. The Army rush offense, number 2 in the country, of course, right? It's going to be either Army or Air Force or Navy is going to be number 1, 2, or 3 in rush offense. UMass, though, has around the last ranked rush offense or rush defense in the country. They're terrible. They've actually been more competitive in some games and actually covered the spread on the road last week at Texas A&M. If you remember that little story I told on the Rob and Kell show, UMass went out there. They flew out to play Arkansas State the week before on the road, and the budget is tight. The budget is tight at UMass, so instead of flying back to Boston, they actually bust south and stayed in a Motel 6 somewhere near Bryan, Texas, I believe. Did their classes and stuff online from the internet there at the Motel 6. Practiced at some high school, some makeshift high school stadium down the road, and so on the road for that was able to cover the spread there. But I don't think they covered the spread against Army. I think they just grinded up and just beat this team into submission. UMass is still horrible. Now we're going to the ones that Carolina Jackpot just really didn't write down. Old Dominion going on the road to South Alabama. I like ODU in this one. This is another team that comes in with a 3-8 record, but they've played the tougher competition in the Conference USA or Sun Belt a little bit closer there. Beat Coastal Carolina. This is kind of a fly in the ointment team. Going ahead and give me ODU to cover the spread in that one. East Carolina goes on the road to Temple. East Carolina's only a 10-point favorite on the road at Temple, coming in at 6-5. I have to think that East Carolina shows up in a big way in this one and just mollywops the Temple Owls, who are a terrible team. East Carolina, that showing last week at home against Houston was really uncharacteristic of what the Pirates have done this year. That was just a real turd in the punch bowl of what has been a really good season. They're going to end up Louisville has actually snuck into the top 25. They're number 25, 7-4, taking on the 6-5 Kentucky team. Kentucky's actually laying 3 at home against Louisville. This all depends on Malik Cunningham for Louisville if he plays. I think that they could win this game. However, it's kind of beaten and banged up a little bit. Kentucky team I just do not trust. But I think they get the win here against Louisville at home and cover that one. Got Auburn taking on Alabama in the Iron Bowl. Alabama coming in number 7 in the country at 9-2. The 5-6 Auburn team could actually get bowl eligible too if they could pull the upset there in that one. I tend to lean Alabama in this one. This line's moved all the way up to 22, so I wouldn't bet it. But if I had to, I was still going ahead and roll with the Crimson Tide. I just don't like Auburn and Cadillac Williams with the patchwork staff taking on Nick Saban. Just doesn't seem like a good matchup to me. Going ahead and take Alabama to roll in that one. Oregon going on the road, taking on Oregon State, the Beeve. Oregon is currently laying 3 on the road, on the highway in Corvallis. Oregon State has been a really good cover team. This all depends on here. I think if Bo Nix plays, if Bo Nix plays in this game, I think that Oregon covers. But that's up in the air, and I think that Oregon State, number 21 team in the country, by the way, gets the cover against the Ducks from Eugene. Got Illinois going on the road to Northwestern. Illinois, 14.5-point favorite on the road in Evanston against the Northwestern Wildcats. I'm going to go on ahead and take Northwestern to cover this one. They've been a decent cover team this year. Have one-loss record is just absolutely horrible. They're going to finish up 1-11. Got to wonder what the future holds there for Pat Fitzgerald. It would be kind of hard for them, I think, to fire a Northwestern guy. And Northwestern, albeit doesn't really have real high expectations for football every year, but they have been a good team in the past. And Fitzgerald likely will become a victim of his own success there. If he gets let go. Minnesota on the road at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's 3-point favorite. I like Wisconsin in that one. I think you're playing some better football as of late. Purdue taking on Indiana. Purdue's sitting here at 7-4. Indiana 4-7. This is the old Oaken Bucket game. Purdue's laying 10.5 on the highway in this one. I lean IU in this game. Albeit Purdue has been a real good team as an underdog, but not a real good team as a favorite this year. Wake Forest and Duke, both 7-4. Wake comes in with a 3.5-point favorite at Duke. It's been a great season for Duke. I thought that Wake Forest was overrated. Everyone has said that all year long. And I think that bears itself out on Saturday afternoon. They've had some injury issues there, too. Go ahead and give me the healthier team, the Duke Blue Devils, to cover the number. Memphis goes on the road to SMU. SMU is a 4.5-point favorite there, and that one at home. I'll take SMU just by virtue of the fact they can score a lot of points. Nothing else. I don't know. I haven't studied them enough to know that much about them, to be honest with you. Iowa State on the road at TCU. TCU is 10-point favorite at home. Sitting here at 11-0. Is this the game where they finally get it? Iowa State, another fly in the ointment team. As far as covering spread, they haven't beaten a lot of teams this year. And this is really a bad season for Iowa State. Boy, losing that Breece Hall, losing Brock Purdy, that really set this team back. Is Matt Campbell, is he on everybody's short list now? Yeah, I thought he was, kind of a little bit overrated as a head coach, and that's bearing itself out this season. They've absolutely fallen apart. This is a classic spot, though. Going ahead and give me Iowa State to cover the spread here. I think they keep it close. TCU, they can't not play a close game against somebody and give you a scare. Got Michigan State going on the road, taking on the number 11 Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State is a 19-point favorite in this game. Going ahead, take the Nittany Lions to cover here. Finish up 10-2. Excellent regular season. Are they going to be in a New Year's Six Bowl? I don't know. Got Utah going on the road, taking on Colorado. Utah laying 29.5 on the road. Colorado is horrible. Give me Utah to cover that number. Jiggy. Just looking here to see what we might find is interesting. LSU going on the road, taking on Texas A&M. LSU is a 10-point favorite on the road at A&M. The doors get closed on a horrible season for Texas A&M. It would be the craziest, most 2022 college football thing ever to see Texas A&M pull out a win here. I don't think they do it. I think LSU gets the win and the cover. UCF 8-3 on the road. South Florida is 1-10. UCF's laying 19.5 on the road at South Florida, which South Florida had been a decent cover team. And they still have been, and they've been putting up some points. UCF, I think UCF's down a little bit after that nasty loss at home to Navy last week. Give me South Florida. Give me this scrappy bunch right here. Another team fighting for a new coach. Give me the Bulls. Notre Dame on the road at USC. USC is a 5.5-point favorite at home. Oh, boy, that's a short line right there. I don't know. This crazy scenario of who's going to be number 4 has got to work itself out. And I think USC works themselves out. I think they work themselves out here. I think that Notre Dame rush attack is going to be just a little bit too much for them to handle. Notre Dame, they were left for dead, all right, after they lost to Marshall. And Marcus Freeman, give him credit. He's probably done one of, if not the best coaching jobs in college football this year. First full year as a head coach. And he's really, he's also lost to Stanford. He lost to Stanford and Marshall, a terrible Stanford team, and Marshall in the same season. And now we're talking about him ranked number 15 in the country and going on the road. And I'm saying they knock off Southern Cal. I think they upset them and win that game straight up. Going ahead, give me Notre Dame to cover. USC, I think that all the gas was emptied out of the tank last week against UCLA. I just do. Oklahoma going on the road to Texas Tech. Oklahoma's a 2-point favorite. This is just a very, very, very evenly matched game. Texas Tech's kind of been on a roll lately. 1-2 in a row. I lean Texas Tech in this one, just by virtue of this game being at home for them. I'm going to lean Texas Tech. We already talked about Syracuse. Kansas going on the road to K-State. K-State is laying 12 at home against Kansas. That seems like a short line to me. Kansas has not played great football. down the stretch. They were a great story at the beginning of the year. They were another doo-wop-wop feel-good story. I think the doo-wop-wop gets doo-wopped out this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening, if I can get myself straight, in the Little Apple, Manhattan, Kansas. Going ahead and give me K-State to cover there. Pitt on the road at Miami. Pitt's a 6.5-point favorite. Take Pitt. I'm not laying any points with Miami after the way I saw them play last week against Clemson. They're just a terrible team. Washington on the road at Washington State, an Apple Cup game. Washington is a 2-point favorite on the road there against Wazoo, who's sitting here at 7-4. Tough one to pick. I think Washington's got a little bit better quarterback play, ranked number 13 in the country with Michael Penix Jr. I think they get the cover here in the Apple Cup and win this one over Wazoo. And then we rounded out with a non-conference matchup. BYU going on the road, taking on Stanford, the Tree. BYU it comes in at 6-5. And Stanford's sitting here at 3-8. One of those a big win over Notre Dame. BYU is 6-5, and I got to look at them and just see what they've done of late. They seem to be on a bit of a roll. They've won a couple of games in a row. Ugly loss to Liberty and Arkansas there in the middle of the season. Kind of had a bad middle of the season for the BYU, man. I think they covered the spread here late on Saturday night on the road at Stanford. Stanford ran out of gas after last week. I think they put everything they had into that performance in the big game against Cal, and they just wasn't able to get it done. So, South Carolina versus Clemson, pick against the spread will be coming later on, and I'll break down that game in its entirety. It's one that everybody's going to be really looking forward to. We'll see what happens with it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's been a long one. Please hit it with a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. I think I cussed. I think the cuss meter was like either 2 or 3. So I did a much better job there on that one. I'll see you all later. Hey, I appreciate you hanging around. Watch the football with me later on this afternoon. Peace. I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks. Go Coach Beamer. And you know what? Clemson. Woo!